we are an importer. We bring in equipments from Europe and from US for all of the broadcasting equipment, and for filming and for producing commercial. So it's like basically it's the equipment that makes movies, it's the equipment that they used for filming commercial and for doing shows on the broadcasting. So we import them on an exclusive basis arrangement with manufacturers, and then we bring them here on a contract, and then we sell it to the local market.
So what is the vision mission of your company?
The mission is a lot, no, because of the nature of our business. But basically, it's the mission is to be the leading broadcast supplier in the Philippines, and to maintain it for many years to come. See the company growth, maybe if not among our employees. Of course, the vision of the company is to see it transferred to within the family, preferably to our son, to the next generation, and whoever will be interested in the company. To keep it within the family. That's the vision of that's the main reason that we have put up the company in the first place.
So how do you perceive interdependence?
Okay, so first we delegate. Okay, each of us, especially of us, we don't have a choice. Even as much as we want to do the work itself, everybody has to be independent on each of their department. Because the owner or the president or the CEO cannot do everything on its own. So even though you want to do everything on your own, you have to delegate to the accounting, let them do their job, and so on the marketing, and on our technical department, they also have to do their own thing. And of course, you know, they have all their own expertise. Like take for example the technical people, they're engineers. So that's their profession. So they have to practice on that. We're not. So sometimes we have to listen to them because they're the experts. Yeah, so from them, we just let them do their job. And we, of course, as the management team, we have the right to correct and override whatever they say. We think it is better for the company and for the customer. But basically, we let them do their own thing. So they make mistakes, they learn from that, but that's how it is.
Have you encountered problems regarding the interdependence of each department?
Yes, so many. It's normal. As I've said, it's a risk of letting them being independent of their own department. The risk on that is, of course, the mistake which costs money. Okay, means like on the importation, they make a wrong move, it costs money on the customs, paying the customs. On the side of the technical department, if we let them do their own thing, it could be something went wrong with the equipment. When we delivered it back to the client, it did not work as we expected it to be. Because even though we have a better idea, it's because it's their job to do their job as a technical person. We just let them go ahead. So those are the problems also that we have. Sometimes we do but we meet every time. Okay, we do a presentation to the customer or to the supplier. We meet, but sometimes we cannot always override what they know professionally against the management side. We are the management, but it is their profession. So sometimes there is always an argument before we present a plan to the customer or a product or anything. So that's a problem, but it's a risk. It's an investment. It's a calculated risk. That's what you call it, as calculated risk.
How often do you experience these problems?
I would say in ratio of 10, maybe 7. It's a big risk. You know? Letting each department be independent on their own is a big risk. But it's something that most business has no choice.
So by knowing this problem, how do you solve it?
First is we learn from the mistake, of course. Each of them, we always tell them to always take note of their mistake, to learn from them. Let's say we deliver something on a system project. Because sometimes we design, okay? Like, take for example, the one from behind you, okay? We design, okay? That is a picture of a studio, okay? So when we design, we normally meet up first with the engineers, with the manufacturers, okay? So there's always an argument, especially sa profession side. One will always say his idea is better, the other one will say that one is always better. So how do we solve them? We come up with a conclusion, we lay down all the options, and we just have to trust our instinct most of the time, okay? And then a little prayer, and then we present it to the customer. But most of the time, success is always higher than the risk we take, so that is okay. So that's how we solve them. It's a continuous process. You don't solve everything overnight. No, that's not possible for business. There will always be a problem that will arise, and then you learn from that, and then you try to avoid it the next time, and then another problem will arise, and then you do the same cycle. That's why they always say business is a risk. If you do not take a risk, then you will not, nothing will happen.
What are your sources of stress?
There's always stress. That's what they always say in business. If there's no stress, means to say it's not a good business. A business that has no stress at all, there's no such thing. So there's always a sources of stress. Number one, what? Financial. Always financial. Okay. If the project is too big, of course you work around your finances. And then one source of stress is always credit and collection as a number one. Collection from, you deliver something, you collect, especially the government, they don't give deposit, okay? So you make $1 million project. So the stress of that is to get the money, and then of course the risk that you're going to take, when are you going to get paid and all that. So the stress of every project isn't complete until you get collected and paid by the customer. But it's a reward, you know, it's a rewarding stress at the end. It's a reward pagtapos ng stress na yun. And the stress also is within the people also in the office. That's why you have an HR. HR takes care of the people. Because they envy each other, they're always gossip, there's always intrigue, there's always a competition within the employees, which is good. Because if there's competition, the other one will always strive better, to be better than the others. So those are sources of stress. Some only. Okay, there's many. Stress with the supplier, stress with the customer, you have to please them, even though they are wrong, they have to be right because they are the customer. With the supplier, sometimes they're too proud, especially if we have already promoted them, so they get very sort of mayabang already. And stress also within the company, that's also, I would say that's the number one stress. If you're going to ask me what is the real source of the stress, is the people, handling the people.
Have you encountered any form of communication barriers? If yes, what problems did you face and how did you solve it?
Yeah, okay, within, there's a lot. Okay, that's why we always encourage our people to refrain from commenting. Okay, but if they have anything against their colleagues, they should bring it out in the open when there's a meeting. Or if they can solve it within themselves, then it's better. Is that what you mean? Communication barriers? Okay. But there's really no barrier because we encourage them to talk always, to say what they need to say. So we can solve the problem internally before it reaches the customer or the supplier, which is not good because impression yun, it's your impression. You have to show the client that you're working as a team, that you're a solid company, so they will trust you. Outside communication barriers, I don't see any. It's the relationship. If you have a good relationship with the supplier and a good relationship with the customer, then both ways they welcome you. So it's not a matter of how do you face them or how do you solve these problems. It's always communication lang internally.